Good morning. Thank you for being here. It's kind of an odd thing to be back in person. I'm Dennis Carmen, I'm the President and CEO of the United Way of Greater Plymouth County, and proud to say I'm in my 16th year. It's interesting when you think about your birthdays coming up, because I got a birthday coming up, that you're celebrating your birthday, and it's, in my case, it's going to be my 62nd birthday. But that actually means you've completed your 67th, it's the second year, and you're actually in your 63rd year. It's kind of depressing when you think about it. But the good news is that when you celebrate your anniversaries, you're celebrating all these terrific years of doing things. And in our case, in our United Way, we were established in 1922. It is now 1921. But we entered our 100th year of service to the community, and that's what we're celebrating in this kickoff. This is our 100th year, and we'll be celebrating our 100th year annual meeting, and our actual birthday is going to be August 7th in 2022. So we're very, very, very excited. It is amazing to me that organizations might have that kind of a legacy, that kind of a history. And it's clearly much more than any one individual or even a small number of individuals. When I think about the 15 years I've been here, that's only 15% of the time that this United Way has been around. And so there's a storied history, and there's a legacy of really some pretty impressive directors well before I got to this United Way who really set things in motion. And it's interesting to be in this room. Some of you may know, we are so thrilled to be here at Thorny Lee. Rich Campbell has been wonderful. If you need to do a function, you got to talk to these people. This is a gorgeous facility. They keep it well. It's got golf courses that I can envision myself swinging a metal object and taking divots the size of the freezers out of here, because I don't, I'm visually challenged. I've swung a golf club once. And I won't tell you where it was because they're probably still looking for the guy, right? I made a serious crater-sized hole in taking a swing, and I said, okay, that's the last time I'm going to try that. But this is a beautiful course, a beautiful facility, and we're thankful to be here. But this is also the home of the Brockton Rotary that meets here regularly. And some of you may be Rotarians, and if you're not, you should consider it. I was chased around for 10 years to be a Rotarian before I agreed to do it. But here, I was invited to speak about United Way early in my tenure. And the gentleman came up to me, his name was Mort Scheffler, and he was the Brockton Emergency Management Agency individual in here. Nice gentleman, and he came up to me and he said, you know, I remember the days of United Way when Carl Ritchie was the executive director, was the president of it. And he really gushed about how wonderful Carl Ritchie was. And he was the United Way head from 1970 to about 1989. And I thought, well, that's really nice that he has that long memory of somebody who's done such a great job. And what was interesting was when I finished my talk, he came up to me and he said, you know, Carl Ritchie would be proud. There aren't many days when you get kind of feedback like that. And I remember thinking to myself, I was a bit humbled by that, because ever since then I keep hearing about how wonderful, right? But it wasn't just Carl Ritchie. It was Lynn Nichols. It was David Meade. It was Tom O'Rourke. It was Barry Young twice as an interim. And then when you look at it, you know, United Way is a volunteer-driven organization. So it's the chair of the board of directors. We have our chair here, John Doyle, who you'll hear from a little bit later from UPS. But we've had a succession of wonderful chairs of our board. Fran Dillon from Stonehill College. Bill McCann from Wells Fargo. Mark Moreau from a number of the financial institutions. Just through the years, wonderful volunteer leadership. Then you add to that, in United Way terms, we have chairs of the United Way campaign, and we've had some illustrious ones too. You know, Kim Holland from Signature Healthcare, Chris Adelson from Rockland Trust, Jim Blake from Harbor One, again, Bill McCann from Wells Fargo, and Scott Sanborn from Harbor One. Just some terrific people. So it's this collective legacy of people. And that's what United Way really represents. We can't do anything on our own. Any one nonprofit organization, as good as they are, can't do it on their own. So it's always this kind of weaving together of partnerships in order to make a real difference, because at the end of the day, it's what we're trying to do for the community that really matters. And during this pandemic, we've certainly been stretched to the max around limited resources and what you hear all the time about compassion fatigue. And the reality of it is, if we can't work together, we're not going to survive some of this stuff. This is stuff that kind of knocks you out, you know? And so to be able to work together for the good of the community is what it's all about. So in this mix, if you will, of people who are carrying the legacy of the people who've gone before us and the people who are with us now, are our community partners. Some of the best and the most impressive organizations. And at this time, to keep me from going on and on, we're going to show you a brief video of our community partners, and just to highlight some of the great work that they're doing. So we'll be back.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, all we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise. We'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, I like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. You, you, you.
that round of applause and much more, because they, day in and day out, just do amazing things with the resources that we try to work together to get. And we need to continue to do that, and we need to kind of bring that to the next level during these challenging times. So it is amazing, and the timing is amazing. Mr. Mayor, you're amazing.
Well, I don't know about that.
I think so, because we're sitting there going, okay, how do I say this? No, we are thrilled and honored to have with us this morning the mayor of the city of Champions, and he is just such a terrific partner, not only with United Way, but with a number of the nonprofits. And during these incredibly challenging times, he's done a fantastic job. I'm fortunate enough to serve on the Health Equity Task Force, and they are some really committed people from the city doing some wonderful work to keep us and our neighbors all safe during these really challenging times. And we are just thrilled. We've been doing some terrific partnering with the mayor's office in terms of special fund for COVID that raised literally $80,000 and then got it out to some terrific community partners within days of receiving it. And so, without further ado, I introduce to you the Mayor of Brockton, Mr. Sullivan.
Good morning, everybody. It's an honor and privilege to be here. I'm joined by two of my team members, Davis and Perez, and Jesse Benoist. And yeah, give them a round of applause. Some of you know me, some of you don't. So I'm Bob Sullivan, born and raised here in the city of Brockton. This is a special place to me. This is my wedding reception was 18 years ago, so you know I danced right there. I didn't dance well, but I danced. But listen, 100 years is a milestone, a century, right? And what the United Way has done, not just to the city of Champions, city of Brockton, but to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and beyond, is really astounding, and it's wonderful. It's such a wonderful endeavor. I want to thank Dennis and his team. And there's so many people here that I could call, and Benny Matarano on the Y, and I mean, just so many different organizations here in the city of Brockton that has a shared vision, right? The shared vision. We want to have a wonderful, thriving, economic community. We want to have a healthy, safe community. As I stand before you today, I just got the death count this morning when I was driving here, 441 residents have perished because of COVID-19. So, what do we need to do? Well, we need to continue to stay the course, number one, right? A healthy, safe, you know, follow the protocols. But also, like this event today is going to help children, kids. So my title is mayor, but my biggest job is dad. I have 3 kids at home, Tommy, Grace, and William. And that's the best thing that I can say, right? They don't care that I'm mayor, they just want me to be a good dad. So be able to do endeavors such as toys and stuffed animals and clothing and books helps the next generation. And you all know Brockton is not a wealthy community. We're a great, diverse, awesome community. That's why they call us the City of Champions. But at the end of the day, we need to work together, right? We're better together. So I want to thank all the sponsors. I want to thank everybody that took time to come here today, because it makes a difference. And it makes a difference not just now, but in the future, right? So the kids are the next generation, right? So when Vinny retires or when I'm not there anymore, it's the next group that we need to take care of now. So we need to give them every tool in the toolbox to help their future. So again, I just want to say thank you for what you all do. Thank you to the United Way, and really just thanks for being here today. Anybody have any questions for me? No? Again, thank you, thank you, thank you, and stay safe. God bless. Thanks.
I didn't want to, have everybody be here all day, Mr. Mayor, but I was going to ask you, how do you do what you do? Because this is a very challenging city. It's a wonderful city, and I've been fortunate enough to have worked in it for a lot of years, both in my role at United Way and Mainspring Coalition for the Homeless, and even Catholic Charities when I started out after graduate school. And really a terrific place with a lot of great people. And so it's important for all of us to band together and care about all of our communities in southeastern Massachusetts, because we have an expansive geography and we have a lot of people we need to help. And at this time, it is my great pleasure to introduce Laura Murphy, who is the Director of Resource Development, and she's going to introduce a couple of additional people who are very special to our United Way functioning campaign, and let you know a little bit about what we're hoping you can help us with this very important 100th year of our doing caring for the community.
That's right. Thank you, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. It is so nice to be here in person in front of everyone, and it's funny, still have technical difficulties with an in-person event, but that's the way it goes, right? But, thank you so much for being here, and really, thank you for your partnership, for your collaboration. What an incredible impact that you have had, that we have had together in the communities that we serve over the last 100 years. It's really incredible if you think about all the challenges we face, in particularly this last couple of years. But again, I just want to say thank you. And a big thank you to our co-chairs of the campaign this year, Scott Sanborn and Bill McCann. I think collectively, I don't know how many years that you have servicing our United Way, but it's a lot, and we really appreciate your leadership, your support, really your dedication to our mission in helping children and families. So. 100 years, that's something to celebrate and something to be proud of, and it's really 100 years of uniting people and ideas and resources to make the community better. The campaign dollars that are raised through the Live United Recovery Fund, help those in need through the pillars of education, health, and financial stability, what we believe to be the true building blocks of a good quality life. Sure. Yeah, thank you. So for the impact last year, especially given the challenges that we faced last year, we were still able to provide over 60,000 people with one or more resources through the Live United Recovery Fund. So that's amazing, and that's a testament to everybody in this room and the partnerships that you've created, and the ability to be able to educate the community and help us spread the word of the good things that are happening. So that's the 22 communities we serve, and it's done through the Live United Recovery Fund dollars, our United Ways Family Center, and the help with our partners at Mass 211 and Single Care. So what we kind of did last year and the last year and a half is, through COVID and all the challenges that presented, we kind of hit the ground running with more of an emergency response. We pivoted that to more of a longer-term recovery, knowing that the effects of COVID are still current and will be for a while. And we feel that these 5 focus areas make a true impact to the most need in the community. So as we all know and heard, I'm sure that you're facing it in the services and the things that you provide too, but the need for food has grown substantially. The housing and homelessness crisis with people facing evictions and homelessness. The little to no healthcare accessible. I think last year, for those of us with children or young adult children, the education was a challenging thing to say the least, and a scary thing. But we're still facing some uncertainty with that, and support for the job training. So again, we couldn't do this without your help, and we believe that this will help us provide the necessary resources for the community. So just to give you a couple of, I don't know if you can see that well. I can't, that's why I'm going to read the statistics from here. But just to show, Kim did some great work with the agencies to provide statistics of just how much it was needed to have these services provided. So in terms of education, over 2,000 children receive literacy support, leading a greater success in school. This was all funded by United Way dollars and by our partner agencies in our organizations and our businesses that care about our community. And also with that, we have over 3,000 people who are able to access affordable housing in financial products and services through United Way's help. 193 people gained employment with the help of United Way's financial education and coaching. And I know that was a pretty scary thing for a lot of people at the beginning of this pandemic. And lastly, and this is a huge number, almost 250,000 meals were distributed to feed the hungry. And this is right here in our local communities. This isn't statewide, this is southeastern 22 communities, with that number. So it's a huge number. And again, I'm up here before you saying thank you. We still have a lot of work to do. There's still people that need our help. And, obviously everybody in this room is here because they feel the same way and they want to help people just like we do. And we do it together as a collaboration. And I can't thank you enough for being here and for caring about our communities. And at this time, I'm going to invite Scott and Bill to come up here and just talk about a couple different ways how you can get involved and really celebrate our 100 years and you know, what we can do moving forward. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We've made it this far, Bill. We didn't trip over the cord. And Mayor Sullivan, thank you very much for setting the tone. This is really about excitement, energy, and a celebration. I mean, 100 years and all the difference that United Way has made in the lives of so many. Laura just illustrated some examples, but that's gone on every year since its founding, or certainly here in the greater Brockton community. I'm very excited to be working with Bill. He's the one who handed that torch to me. I couldn't find the torch this morning, otherwise I pulled it up. But he handed that torch to me a few years ago, and he said, "Don't screw it up." And I've worked hard not to. But the reason I haven't, and the reason I'm excited to be co-chair with Bill this year, is because United Way has a great team, it has a great community, and it does great work. And it always has, and I think it always will. No better way than in 2021 and 22 to begin and hopefully for over a year celebrate all that great work and help so many people along the way. So my task this morning is to just share some creative ideas. I can't take credit for these. Kim and Lauren probably came and brainstormed about them, but I think they're great ideas. As you think how you can make a difference, how your employees can make a difference, or other volunteers can make a difference, you know, it doesn't matter the size of the gift. What matters is participation. It always has, it always will. So perhaps people can add $100 to their annual gift. It's a sacrifice, but one that is so worthwhile. Whether you give $19.22 or whether you give $1,922, that's another way to recognize what the amazing 100 years that have come before, and hopefully the next 100 years are yet to come. $19.22 per pay period for a 26 bi-weekly payroll makes you a leadership giver. I like this one. How about holding a birthday party for the United Way of Greater Plymouth County? I think that would be an amazing opportunity. Myself, I have in the past donated all of my contribution to the Live United Fund. Especially this past year, there was the recovery effort, which was so important. And then, in recognition of this 100th year, something I know we'll talk about in our organization is perhaps donating $100 a month. Because not only does that make a difference to so many lives, but it also, you know, is a serious recognition and puts people in what's called the Century Club, and that is a very, very admirable level of giving for such a worthwhile organization. So those are just some ideas. And I know many of you in the audience here have come up with creative campaigns. Rockland Trust does amazing work every year. Stonehill, all of you do amazing work. So we look forward to a great campaign, and I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Bill.
Good morning, and thank you so much, Scott. Scott is entering his 3rd year as campaign chair, and he's right. I preceded him, and actually this will be my 5th time as campaign chair. And I'm honored and humbled, and the organization, the history, the legacy. My family goes way back in Brockton. Actually, my grandfather graduated from Brockton High in something like 1906, went off to World War I, and then came back and was head of the OBGYN at Brockton Hospital for like 50 years. And then my other grandparents took us in when my dad kind of unexpectedly left when I was in the 5th grade when we lived in Brockton, and they were the Sullivans, and so that's my mom's maiden name is Sullivan. But,
I love you, Mom.
She's awesome. But yeah, I mean, I actually was talking to Andrew this morning. My involvement with this organization goes back 20 years now, so that's kind of 1/5 of the whole life of the organization, and then 5 times as campaign chair is like 5% of during the life of the organization. But I'm really proud of being involved, and we're so glad and blessed to have brought Dennis on. I joke with Dennis that I was the one dissenting vote when we voted. I was on the board whether to hire Dennis or not, but no, but we're so glad we did. I heard you say you're in your 16th year. That just makes me feel really old. And I actually wanted to mention a little anecdote quickly. When I first started getting involved, one of the first committees I served on was the allocations committee, and we would go out and sort of kick the tires on these recipient organizations and meet with board members and key staff people. And I remember I was assigned to go visit with the people, the leadership at the Y. And it was right after 9/11 actually. And I was watching all this 9/11 stuff like probably a lot of you did over the last couple of weeks. And shortly after 9/11, one of Vin's organizations within the Y umbrella was the Family Life Center, I believe it was called. And they actually sort of triaged a family who had the loss of a breadwinner in 9/11, and they sort of trained the spouse and had provided daycare for the kids and sort of like an apartment style setting and so on. So I never forgot that, and I think it's an example of the kinds of things that our United Way gets involved in. And also, last time I was campaign chair, I toured Brockton, and I grew up here from 5th grade on, and there was a lot of need, clearly, and I think I mentioned this at another event, but we went to an elementary school that day, and the principal told us that 25 kids in that school were considered homeless. And I was like, it broke my heart, I was a elementary school kid at Whitman School down the street off Belmont Street, and I can't imagine 25 of my schoolmates being homeless. But so that's the kind of thing we're trying to get in there and help fix and sort of right the ship. So anyway, so thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it. I'll get into this now. So the ideas that I've been asked to describe are, you have try to gather up about 100 new volunteers at your workplace, or do 100 volunteer hours, like cleaning up local parks, work at a soup kitchen, and so forth. Next would be collect 100 pounds of healthy food for a local food pantry, or write 100 notes of encouragement for families in shelters or for veterans. Create a 1-minute video on why you support United Way for social media. Collect 100 pairs of socks. I'll probably do that in my drawer. Put 100 school supply kits or 100 books for kids together. Make 100 homeless supply bags, like hand sanitizer, snacks, toiletries, hats, gloves, etc. Or create 100 bedtime bags, including things like books, pajamas, and small stuffed animals. I'll turn it back over to Laura. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys both so much. And actually we have a table on display with some bedtime bags right there. So there's many ways to get involved, and we wanted to recognize some volunteer ways because we know not everybody has the capacity to give. But we do thank those that do, and we're really excited just to kick off our 100th campaign, and we ask you to spread the word of the great things we're doing together, and if anybody has any needs or questions, to direct them to us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just walking back and forth. Thank you, Bill and Scott. I mean, just terrific to have people continue to step up and be in critical volunteer roles. Because as you can tell, we certainly need the financial resources in order to do the work that we do. But without the people, without those volunteers, without those people putting those countless hours in to kind of assess the needs and then to distribute funds and make decisions on funding based on site visits and all that. We just couldn't do it. We just couldn't do it. And we couldn't do it with our community partners. We say that an awful lot. And when we were thinking about how to deal with a kickoff and what we usually do with a day of caring, we needed to figure out creatively what could we do that would make a real difference, that wouldn't put people at risk. And it became clear to us that one of the big needs in the area is the need for blood. During this critical time of the pandemic where the ICUs were overflowing with people and the challenges are there, and the lack of ability of getting out and doing massive blood drives has resulted in a real shortage in the blood supply. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of our strong, long-standing community partners, the American Red Cross of Southeastern Mass. And I don't think you're going to find a more passionate regional director of the American Red Cross than Barbara Cotton, who's going to talk to you about that critical need. Barbara.
Good morning, everyone. I am going to use the podium, and you're going to be thankful because, like Dennis said, I am passionate, and when I talk from the cuff, I could have us here probably for the next half an hour talking about something I'm really passionate about, like blood. But I also feel that some of the things I'm going to say are really important, and I needed to capture that information. But before we get started, I want to say hi to Robert. I haven't seen you since freshman year of college at Boston. I believe it was freshman English, so it's nice to see you. And I also wanted to thank you for your support for the sickle cell drive that we did last week.
That was awesome.
It was absolutely unbelievable, and I'll touch on some of those things, but my area or territory for the Southeastern Mass chapter is 81 cities and towns, and Plymouth County is just one portion of that. I started my job as the executive director here. I've been in nonprofits for a while, but with the Red Cross, the week before the pandemic was hit us. So I really thought I was going to be out in the community doing lots of networking. I haven't worn a skirt in like a year, so you'll be thankful that I'm not wearing pajama pants today and standing on the podium. But one of the most important relationships that I established first and early on and most welcoming was really with the United Way of Greater Plymouth. So from a partner perspective, I have to just give congratulations and kudos because they really did give me a forum to connect with so many agencies, and as we amplified the message of what we were doing during the pandemic, and yes, we're here for a blood drive, but we work with services to the armed forces and our veterans, and we're putting together comfort kits. We were working during the pandemic, and under kind of the radar, we were down in Texas working with the unaccompanied minors. I was just down in Louisiana 2 weeks ago helping victims of the hurricane. There are so many different aspects of the American Red Cross, but today really is about this blood drive. So congratulations to the United Way on 100 years of serving the community. And thank you, Dennis and Kim, really for the opportunity to celebrate volunteerism today, especially with the Red Cross in this most important drive during a most critical time of need. And I just shared with Dennis, we use words very carefully. Critical means that, there's like less than 4 days supply. Next week on the 27th, it will move to emergency, which means that there's less than 1 day supply right now on the shelves. And I want you to think about these statistics for just a moment. Across the country, every 2 seconds, someone will require blood. And although only 38% of the nation is physically eligible to donate, only 3% actually do. And they help us, the Red Cross, to supply 40% of the nation's blood supply. So the good news, though, is that regardless of your ability to donate, and I know a lot of you had said you signed up for today, so that's great. I think we've tilted that statistic. There's probably more people in this room that will donate today than statistically that shows. But 100% of you are actually able to help support blood donation in a variety of impactful ways, like amplifying the need on social media, liking and sharing our posts, sharing your own experience. Thank you so much. Celebrating with families and friends that do donate and amplifying that. Galvanizing or hosting a blood drive at your own workplace. And like those who are doing this today, volunteering to welcome and thank donors at blood drives just like this one. So why is a healthy blood supply important or even deemed critical? It's because blood products can't be manufactured. They have a shelf life of about 42 days, and they are life-saving for the recipients. So think about this, whether they're a trauma patient, a cancer survivor, a burn victim, or someone who's receiving an elective surgery. Every blood donation that's collected has the ability to be broken down into various blood products that can help as many as 3 people. So even if yourself, you've never needed a blood donation, chances are that you do know someone who has. And maybe unexpectedly, like during childbirth, or critically as a result of an accident or burn, or maybe he or she receives life-saving treatments for leukemia or cancer or even sickle cell. But every 2 seconds, someone somewhere needs blood. So today's collaborative partnership provides the opportunity for everyone in this room really today to be a hero. So whether you donate yourself or you support someone who does, know that your donation is a gift that saves a life. So now, when we're done with the program, who's ready to roll up their sleeve and join me at the table? Thank you. Thank you.
Based on what we anticipate will be a successful day of getting people to donate blood, we are considering doing a series of these, and I would encourage any of your organizations that are out there that can help coordinate additional blood drives. Please, I encourage you to connect with Barbara to be able to do that. It worries me to think that someone who's waiting for a transfusion for dialysis or leukemia treatments or whatever, that they're being told they can't do a transfusion or they can't get their blood renewed on a given day, causing them great pain and literally leading to the possibility of them passing. That's just, it's unimaginable in this country to me to think that. So if you can help, please do. Don't leave. I'm just going to introduce the chairman of our board, Mr. John Doyle from UPS, but before I do that, if any of our board members who are here would stand up and be recognized, I would appreciate that. I know how much you hate that. John, when he comes up, will remind you of this, but don't go anywhere. We want to take a picture on the front steps, not only because we want to highlight these terrific T-shirts that came from Bond Printing. They designed them, which was really exciting. They're in Hanover. If you need printing and reproduction and T-shirts or whatever, they do some terrific work, so please do that. I want to thank Wells Fargo Advisors for sponsoring again. I want to thank Thorny Lee for being such a great facility and being so welcoming. And I want to thank you all for being here. And at this time, John Doyle, our board chair.
100 years. Pretty cool, right? Dennis talked about the history. And if you think about that history from when it started to now, we're just a small blip on the timeline, right? But we all got involved for a reason. Everybody has that personal reason. And I think that is key in spreading our message. Education, right? When I was younger, I was afraid to spread my reason. I was kind of embarrassed by it. You know, I grew up with a single mom, and I'm not embarrassed of that at all. What she provided me, and my grandparents provided me, and I start to get a little emotional, choked up about it. What they did for me, and they didn't have the support of these organizations that I know about now. I started at UPS, it's almost 33 years now, back in 1988. I got involved with United Way that second year in 1989 because I was told to. Right? We're a huge supporter of United Way, and it was kind of like the strong arm. Hey, you need to give $1 a week. I was working 3 jobs, I was going to college. I was like, I can't afford $1 a week, but eventually they convinced me to give that $1 a week. And over the years, I learned more and more about United Way. You know, when I was a kid, I thought I was a big shot when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, going to the grocery store. And I was buying groceries with these brown coupons. I'm walking home with groceries. I didn't know my mother was embarrassed to go to the grocery store because she was on assistance. I had no idea. So we all have this personal reason why we get involved, and I appreciate everybody that's come out today. You show you care, right? You show you support it. Tell your story to other people. Find out their stories. But the more you can spread that, the more we're going to move this organization forward. Because right now we're starting, you know, this is the 100th year anniversary, but we're starting the next 100 years too. I get up here to say some thank yous. Dennis, you know, tirelessly, Dennis and his team, Kim, Laura, everybody that supports that organization, they work behind the scenes day in, day out. You have no idea how much they do. And just let's give them a round. Dennis did already thank some folks, but I will cover that again. Mr. Mayor, thank you for coming out. We appreciate the support. It means a lot to us, the United Way, in the community. Scott, Bill, I couldn't think of 2 better people to be co-championing this 100th year campaign. We appreciate appreciate everything you do. And again, the work behind the scenes that you don't see, the tireless efforts, it doesn't go unnoticed. Bill, Wells Fargo sponsoring, thank you. We appreciate that. Dorney Lee, obviously, for hosting us. Beautiful golf course. I haven't played here. I'd like to someday. But this event, kind of kicks off this 100-year campaign. No matter how small, we can get people to get involved, whether it's time, donations, obviously. We've went through some challenging times this past, 2 years almost now. It's had a severe impact on our campaigns. Last year, some of that was bridged with some PPP funds that were forgiven. If we didn't have that last year, it would have been a much different story of what we can, allocate back out to our partner organizations. One of the things that I've done with UPS is I've gotten the younger management team involved with the allocation committee. And I can't tell you how impactful that's been. And to hear some of their stories now and what they're doing behind the scenes, it's great. So again, that education piece, the first time I was on the allocation committee, I wanted to give everybody everything we could. You hear the stories, you hear what they do, it's amazing. So that is a really great way to get people involved in your organizations. Be part of that allocation committee. I didn't know what I was doing the first time I went, but you're on a team of 4 people, they help you through it, and you go through this evaluation criteria, and then we decide, but the pie is what's important, right? How big is that pie? And this year is a critical year. We're not going to have PPP funds to bridge any gap. So anything you do to help support that, really appreciate it. That's really all I have. I guess we'll get together. We're going to do a group photo.